You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it's this boy?
Finding him was the will of the Force.
The chosen one, the boy may be. Nevertheless, grave danger I fear in his training.
His abilities have made him, well, arrogant.
Fear is the path to the dark side.
I love you. You love me?
Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Annie, I'm pregnant.
I won't lose you, Padme.
Part of the reason I went back to tell the prequel of how Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader is that it's an interesting story, and it's a fun story to tell, because it is the story of how a good person turns bad. You know, he progresses from being a bright, smart, loving, caring young boy to being an attentive, hardworking, but ambitious Padawan learner who feels that because he's better at his being a Jedi and his Jedi skills than most of the other Jedi, that he should progress further and faster.
In some ways, a lot of ways, I'm really ahead of him.
And as he progressed, it was his inability to control his temper, his greed to control things that were his undoing.
His whole slide to the dark side is quite carefully done, and it comes from very human things that he's in love, you know, and that he's going to be a father, and that he's jealous, and I don't know, we've all done it, messed things up because we're young and naive and not able to step back and go, oh no, it's okay.
Put the ship down! Anakin! Don't let your personal feelings get in the way!
The problem that Anakin has in this whole thing is he has a hard time letting go of things.
I don't want things to change.
But you can't stop the change.
As he sought more and more power to try to change people's fate so that they're the way he wants them, that greed goes from trying to save the one you love to realizing you can control the universe. The central issue in the film is that a boy is taken from his mother, and that sort of drives everything.
Well, I'm playing the mother of Anakin, and we have a good relationship, my boy and I. And it's a beautiful part. I love it very much. It's so warm, and I feel very familiar about it because I got 3 kids myself.
Anakin Skywalker is a lot like me. He's really mechanical. He loves to tinker with stuff. He's been a slave in his entire life on Tatooine, and now he has to leave his mom. She's been the only person that's there for him for his entire life. He's never had a father, so I think he was kind of confused on whether to go or to stay.
She's very brave in a way to let him go. She really do believe in him.
Mom, I just can't do it.
That he's gonna take the responsibility of his own life.
Will I ever see you again?
What does your heart tell you?
I'm 7 years old. I'll be 8 on August 30th.
Hi, my name is Devin Michael, and I'm 9 years old.
Hi, I'm Michael Morano, and I'm 8 and a half.
Hi, my name is Jake Lloyd, and I'm 7 years old.
Hi, my name is Justin Burfield, and I'm 9.
George wrote it knowing that it would be an incredible task to find the right child actor. He had every imaginable element built into this kid, from mechanical ability to earnestness. His look was important, his intelligence. And usually children's roles aren't that complex. And in Anakin, you had to have it all.
We tested literally thousands of kids. We went all over the world for 3 years, doing tests, shooting tapes.
We looked in England and Ireland and Scotland and in North America and Canada and the States. And it was a process of just going to every single location and contacting the agents, contacting the schools, and kind of throwing out this big net, bringing in as many boys as I could. I think I actually interviewed about 3,000 Anakins. And from that 3,000, I narrowed it down to 3 boys.
Scene 1A, take 1. Scene 1A, take 2. Scene 1A, take 1.
They had to be really good actors. They had to be kind of wise beyond their years. And they had to have a good charisma, a good personal quality about them that could carry this kind of a film.
We decided to bring them all up to a test screen at the ranch with George directing. That's a huge thing for a little boy to think that he could be the next Anakin Skywalker. I mean, in their world, that's mammoth.
This is Natalie.
Hi.
All right. So, Anakin is a little boy who lives with his mother on Tatooine. You all know the word Tatooine.
Yeah.
It's a desert planet. And he works in this little shop that sells used spaceship parts.
There's very few children who can actually act because acting is experience, and kids have limited experience.
You've never met each other, so this is the first time you've ever said anything to each other.
And speak.
Scene 1, take 1.
And action.
I'm a pilot, and someday I'm gonna fly away from this place.
You're a pilot?
All my life.
I'm a pilot, and someday I'm gonna fly away from this place.
You're a pilot?
All my life. I'm a pilot, Someday I'm gonna fly away from this place.
You're a pilot?
All my life.
You're just a little boy.
I won't always be. I won't always be. I won't always be.
Great. Perfect.
We had Leia and Luke, and then from that we had to draw who their parents could or would be. And so we're kind of going backwards. Natalie had to look like Carrie Fisher, and Anakin had to look like Mark Hamill. I was matching parents to children, and I was matching an ensemble cast. I think you have to be a bit of a investigator, and you have to enjoy the chase.
I'll start with me. I'm Rick. I'm the producer.
Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm George. I'm responsible for all of this.
I'm Jake, and I'm playing Anakin Skywalker.
The races. Everyone came to the table equal, and everyone had an equal shot at it. It's just who's right for the role, and that was the only qualifier that I had to work within.
One of the most important things in this particular character is that he is a wonderfully nice boy. And then there's this very intuitive kind of gut feel you get about that's the one. With Jake, I just got that feeling.
I'm a pilot, and someday I'm gonna fly away from this place.
You think I'm still the little boy that you first met, when the truth is, I've changed. I'm grown up.
Whenever you're casting, first of all, you're always looking for a really good actor, somebody that really has a lot of craft and is really very talented. Action! Who fits the part that you've created.
For the role of Anakin, we had a formal screen test.
102, take one, Mark.
To be honest, I went in with no expectations. I really wasn't thinking that, you know, ooh, I really want this part. It was just, wow, you know, that's George Lucas. This is cool.
And in this particular case, I was looking for somebody who was very boyish and young, but had sort of a James Dean sullen edge to him.
Annie?
Anakin. Annie makes me sound like a little boy.
You look at those eyes, and there's just so much happening there. Hayden had all the elements of the character.
Don't try to grow up too fast.
I am grown up. About a week after my test, not even, I was lying in bed and got the phone call that I got the part. I never would have expected to be here right now. This is Star Wars. It's really, really cool. This is my first action.
Hayden's stepping into a huge part to play Anakin and to be the young Darth Vader, you know.
Yeah, they're liking me today.
I was always the youngest one, and I'm now not, so...
It's funny, the first day I had to take my lightsaber out on set. I didn't even realize what I was doing. And the first take I did, I was like, wow, wow. I was like, oh, no, you guys, you'll put that in later, won't you?
All right, all right.
All Jedi don't fight exactly alike.
An elegant weapon.
When we started, there was a particular style developed. It's a combination of samurai and Western sword fighting. And when we did Phantom, we sort of progressed that style.
You know, Nick Gillard creates a unique fighting style for each of the Jedi, and how it sort of reveals a certain element of their personality.
Other Jedis have other ones, but that's the one, isn't it? And it's mine.
You have to distinguish between the characters, so you have to read the script a lot of times and understand the character.
A lot of the aggression that I hold in my character is exemplified in my fighting style.
He understands. You know, he moves really well, he's tough.
Anakin maybe loses control a little bit and some of the darkness emerges, whereas a Jedi normally would have to be much more in control of the situation.
They're like marshals in the Old West. They're the keepers of the peace. They're given assignments to resolve conflicts.
This Jedi walks by and ruins my action.
With the ultimate threat of force if things aren't resolved.
I said don't touch it. Yo, what?
Anakin, who's much more youthful, and I think Obi-Wan Kenobi's slightly more sedate.
I don't want to be, you know, showing him how things are, because everyone has to find out for themselves. He's brilliant. I love him to death. He's a great kid.
Anakin in this movie is a transitional character. He's going from the young Padawan learner to becoming aware of the fact there's more to him than that.
He's always had a sense of longing for love in his life.
Hayden's a wonderful actor. I'm really, really impressed by him, especially because he's very confident.
And he's a much more complex character than the surface belies.
It's not really a mystery. Everyone knows that I'm going to the dark side. It's kind of like the Titanic sinking.
Can you excuse me for just a moment?
Well, for me, it's just heaps of fun to go in and get dressed up as a Jedi every day and put on the boots and get to wear the cloak occasionally.
Right.
He's got a fantastic mind. He understands exactly the part. Every stunt he's got on this movie, he'll do it. We have a double. We have a good double.
Hayden's actually too good, and I'm not really doing very much at all.
I mean, he's fiercer than the double, and, you know, he's made out of tough stuff.
I was heavily involved in athletics and wanted to be a hockey player, wanted to be a tennis player. It's Star Wars, you know? Why would you not want to be a part of every aspect that you could? I don't want anyone else on the screen trying to do my thing. You know? I'll take a few bruises for the team. It's a stuntman in me. As much as it is my character, it's all coming from George's head. He is the definitive of how it should be played. So you have to pay attention.
Well, Hayden is actually a very talented actor. He's very good, very professional, works really hard.
It's extraordinary to think that he's so young.
I don't think he realizes how good he is.
I had no idea. You try to give flashes of darkness and flashes of just pure innocence just to try to bring everything together.
He was able to pull that off very well. That was a hard thing to do. Episode 2 takes place 10 years after Episode 1, and now Anakin is a Padawan learner, apprentice Jedi, and Obi-Wan is his mentor. Padme finished her term as the Queen of Naboo and has gone on to become a senator. The movie is essentially a story about Anakin and Anakin's dealing with his emotions, the difficulty of his being torn between his duty and his emotional needs, which relate to Padme.
It must be difficult having sworn your life to the Jedi, not being able to do the things you like.
Or be with the people that I love.
Are you allowed to love? Thought that was forbidden for a Jedi.
Since Episode 1, he'll have been training Anakin heavily.
Patience. Use the Force. Think.
Sorry, Master.
They're like two old friends who've been together a long time and who spend too much time together.
You know I don't like it when you do that.
Sorry, Master. I forgot you don't like flying.
Well, you've lost him.
If you'll excuse me.
I hate it when he does that.
Obi-Wan Kenobi's worried. Anakin's a bit headstrong and overconfident.
Boy has exceptional skills.
But he still has much to learn, Master. His abilities have made him, well, arrogant.
He loves Obi-Wan because he is sort of a father figure for him. But at the same time, there still is that resistance because Anakin does want to break free of what he's doing right now.
I'm ready for the trials, but he feels that I'm too unpredictable. He won't let me move on.
She is now a senator. She had been the queen, but her reign ended, and the new queen asks her to stay and help out and be a senator, so she's still in the political scene. Do you have any idea who is behind this attack?
We will find out who's trying to kill you, Padme. I promise you.
Escort the senator back to Naboo. She'll be safer there.
They have to travel together a lot because he's protecting her.
Throughout the film, they're put in these very extreme settings because they're in hiding.
You're making fun of me.
No, I'd be much too frightened to tease a senator.
She really struggles with sort of the career versus romance issue. You're studying to become a Jedi. I'm a senator.
We could keep it a secret.
We'd be living a lie. I couldn't do that. Could you, Anakin?
He understands that as a Jedi, he's not allowed to fall in love, even though he feels so passionately for Padme. It's that confusion that really causes him all of his anxiety.
This one, obviously, we kind of know what happens to Anakin. We just don't know how and why.
It's all Obi-Wan's fault. He's holding me back.
You're not all powerful, Anakin.
Well, I should be.
Anakin's flaws, like all classic mythological heroes, are the flaws that everyone carries with them. The issues that he's confronting is that a good Jedi overcomes those flaws and kind of goes above the normal human tragedy that most people have to experience.
What is it? Pain, suffering, death, I fear.
Anakin is starting to display some interesting characteristics that need to be watched closer.
Evil isn't just pure evil. A lot of times it comes from good. Episode 2 is sort of like an extended portrayal of how evil evolves.
And it really allows you to, I think, feel for his struggle much more. And I think that most people would make some of the same choices that Anakin does.
It's no different than having somebody in your family that you love who's got a serious problem. There's not much you can do. You don't stop loving them. And I think that's what's going to happen, especially with somebody as good as Hayden.
The real fun of Episode 3 is the fact that it connects all the dots. Finally, you can see how Episode 1 relates to Episode 6 and how they all come together. A lot of the people that have followed the Star Wars saga over these years will obviously be interested in how Anakin becomes the man in the suit.
And action!
I'm not the Jedi that I should be. I want more, but I know I shouldn't.
And cut. I think you can be a little bit more stronger on that, not moody. And I think when you say, I want more, but I know I shouldn't, you can turn away. You know, I want more, but so when you're saying, I know I shouldn't, you're turning away. I know I shouldn't. You know, you got to remember this is one movie, and it's meant to be seen 1 through 6. So I think when you watch the actual movie in order, the story will become very clear that Anakin is the chosen one.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it's this boy?
And even when Anakin turns into Darth Vader, he is still the chosen one.
Oh, when you're a kid, you know, he's the pinnacle of all evil. There is that mystery there, you know. He is a man behind a mask, and up until now we didn't know who that man was. So it allows, you know, the audience to really instill their own imagination into that character and make that evil whatever they want it to be.
Commander, tear this ship apart until you found those plans and bring me the passengers. I want them alive.
There will be more depth, though, to that evil because it's not a conscious, you know, choice that he's made.
Darth Vader became such an icon in the first film, Episode 4, that icon of evil sort of took over everything, much more than I intended. If it had been one movie, that wouldn't have happened. He would have been revealed to be this pathetic character at the end of the movie. But now by adding Episodes 1, 2, and 3, people begin to see the tragedy of Darth Vader as what it was originally intended to be.
You are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take it away.
And I like the idea that the person you thought was the villain is really the victim. And that the story is really about the villain trying to regain his humanity. It becomes really the story of Darth Vader's redemption.
The sort of transition into the dark side was where I was wanting to go from the very get-go. And I wasn't really sure at the time why I was being asked to pull back, but, you know, now I understand it's because it, you know, it has to take place at very specific points in this film.
There's always this good in you at this point. The good part is saying, what am I doing? And the bad part is saying, I'm doing this for Padme, I'm doing this for us, and it'll be better for the universe, it'll be better for everybody. You know, but there's always this little part in you is saying, what am I doing? I chose an actor who has that presence of the dark side to work with, as opposed to somebody who's very lighthearted and funny and trying to get him to have an undercurrent of dark side all the time. And Hayden's been very good at that. And so then you're very strong on that. It's almost said with not a little bit of anger, a tinge of, you know, I will, you know, determination and anger. I will not betray the Republic. You know, my loyalties. So that you're turning on, but it's, you know, it's like I will not betray the Republic. That's your rationalization for everything you've done.
Oh, Anakin, what are you gonna do?
I will not betray the Republic.
Nobody who's evil thinks of themselves as evil.
My loyalties lie with the Chancellor.
They always believe they're doing good, even though they're not. And so it's a matter of how does a person who is good turn to becoming an evil person.
Well, he is under a lot of stress, Otto.
Obi-Wan seems always to have been a little wary of this child, and having made a promise to his dying master, Qui-Gon, he promises to turn this wee kid into a Jedi and look after him, which he does, I think, to the best of his ability.
Anakin we have to deal with, too. At this point, I think we say, what's dashing? Because we're bulking him up.
So you just get it from...
Yeah. Hayden's had to work out really hard, so he'll do 6 hours sword fighting, and then he'll do 2 hours of training, and then he eats about 6 times a day.
I think it's too much.
Too far?
Yeah. Let's let his hair grow.
What do you mean like this?
We want that.
Go for it.
I mean, that's sort of the same.
It is.
His hair is still a work in progress. 2 days ago it was quite long. We had the little ponytail thing happening.
Yeah, I'm just afraid that he'll see it and go, you know, that's what we're going with.
Okay.
I wanted to take Anakin from being a young Padawan learner up to, you know, being this really intense Jedi. You know, it feels a little pretty. That's what I mean. It looks a little... It needs to be loosened up a little bit, kind of. Yeah. We can't let it be cute. It's got to look rugged.
Yeah.
Always got to look rugged.
Yeah.
It was just too soft, I think.
Yeah. And Hayden actually wasn't very comfortable, which really is the main point, because if he doesn't feel comfortable in his character, then that's the point to stop. So we actually bit the bullet and we cut the whole lot off.
I mean, I think this has to be the one.
Yeah, no, if you feel comfortable and the other one you don't, then yeah, absolutely.
You know, I actually thought Mark Hamill's haircut looked really cool. Yeah, it's like building a bridge and just connecting what they've done on either side and kind of fusing them together.
Where we left him in episode 2, he was consumed by conflicting emotions. His love for Padme, a resentment of his Jedi obligations, you know, and the restrictions that placed on his life, a feeling that he was being held back, a lust for power, which was really magnified by his mother's death, and a fear, which is important, a fear that such an occurrence could happen again. As a very wise man once said,
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
When we find him in episode 3, he's still very much enveloped by these same tormenting feelings that, you know, the Jedi aren't affording him enough respect.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
What? Very prominent, rising disillusionment.
You know, as you start complaining, there's got to be a little bit of anger behind it, a little bit of frustration. Okay. And action.
Sometimes I wonder what's happening to the Jedi Order. I think this war is destroying the principles of the Republic.
This war represents a failure to listen. Now you're closer to the Chancellor than anyone. Please ask him to stop the fighting and let the diplomacy resume.
Don't ask me to do that. His life has become more complicated, and this all culminates into an anger, compounded by changing relationships with both Palpatine and Obi-Wan. I mean, he begins to question the Jedi as a whole, but especially Obi-Wan. Anakin's relationship with Palpatine is one of deference and seduction. He lures Anakin into a very impressionable state.
I have rewritten, I spent the whole weekend rewriting the scene between you and Palpatine, where you turn.
Yeah.
And I've added some more to that. I've stretched it out a bit and made it a little bit, given you a little bit more to go on in terms of him pulling you in.
I hope you trust me, Anakin.
Of course.
I need your help, son.
He pulls each string with such charming yet evil precision. You wanted to see me, Chancellor?
Yes, Anakin, come closer. I have good news.
It happens once the Emperor starts to work on him and make him doubt things, make him doubt his relationship to the Jedi, make him doubt what is good in the universe. He throws out the possibility that he could keep his wife and save her from death. These are all seduction things, which causes a great deal of turmoil in Anakin.
He had such a knowledge of the dark side, he could even keep the ones he cared about from dying.
Is it possible to learn this power?
Not from a Jedi.
This is where he finally succumbs to the influence of the devil.
Anakin has turned to the dark side.
The Obi-Wan-Anakin fight is an amazing battle. I've already been knighted, if you will, Darth Vader. Darth Vader's fighting style is much more aggressive and much more brutal than Anakin's. I think that the end fight where Anakin and Obi-Wan try to resolve their differences, Obi-Wan comes out with the better hand. But I think that's a a result or, derivative of Anakin's emotions and not being able to focus them and control them, which is just, the root of Anakin's inabilities.
You underestimate my power! Don't try it!
Got to jump down, and we could do it in 2 pieces. Okay. He's got to jump down, and as he comes over, he's got to cut him.
Yeah, and then you've got to go.
Then we can do the second piece where he lands and rolls down. Okay. Do you want to do that, or you want to have a stunt guy do that?
I'll do it if you'd like me to.
It's up to you.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it's kind of rolling sideways in the dirt.
Well, if you think you'll see my face and it's worth having me do it, then
probably.
I'm happy to do it,
Yeah.
Take 4, be Mark.
And action!
Don't ask me, Anakin! Said you would destroy the Sith, not join them!
And cut! You do that little turn and you look back. If we move more of it as you were going up the hill, so that if he does, when he bursts into flames and stuff, it's not like you're standing right next to him. It's important in the end that you see the physical transformation of Anakin into this burnt-up crisp, because that's the suffering he had to live with for the rest of his life.
To me, I really wanted to show that there was some severe damage. There was a lot of stuff, a lot of bad stuff had happened to him, and that had kind of formed him. All Vader's experiences have formed him into what he becomes. We get to do stuff that I've basically been imagining since I was a kid.
So this is the burnt Anakin stroke Vader makeup on Hayden Christensen, and this is what's going to bridge the transformation between Anakin and Darth Vader.
Oh my God! Look at this. Oh, God! What's really freaky is that your eyebrows and your eyes, that you're in there. It's particularly nice.
That's a scene all the fans are waiting for.
Yeah.
For him to come out of that pit looking like this.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate you.
It was my first time having to, be burned.
Slide down this way, keep coming down, and then you're going to put your feet up here. Yeah, up there on that. Set. And action! We know from Return of the Jedi what he looks like, so we use that as our model, that he's been all burned up in a volcano. And that was in, say, the original backstory. I felt it was important that we actually see that happen so that we could see the consequences of these bad things that he did.
Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow.
Because of Obi-Wan.
Because of what you've done. What you plan to do.
He forces his friends to turn against him, which is heartbreaking.
You were the chosen one!
Obviously, one of the key elements in Episode 3 is that we see him actually put into the Iron Lung. The mask finally close on him, that now he's an artificial man, but we know what's inside of it. And I think it's a new part to 4, 5, and 6 that people haven't seen yet. The man in the suit comes into being a more personalized character than what he was originally.
I'm aware that there was a fair amount of hysteria on set when I first emerged as Darth Vader.
You look just like Darth Vader.
It's quite something. I can't even necessarily articulate how it made me feel.
Lord Vader, can you hear me?
And that part was very empowering.
Yes, Master.
A memory that won't leave me in the near future.
The prophecy is that Anakin will bring balance to the Force and destroy the Sith. He becomes Darth Vader. Darth Vader does become the hero. Darth Vader does destroy the Sith, meaning himself and the Emperor. He does it because he is redeemed by his son.
So, you have accepted the truth.
I've accepted the truth that you were once Anakin Skywalker, my father.
That name no longer has any meaning for me.
It is the name of your true self you've only forgotten. I know there is good in you.
So the prophecy is true. And by doing that, he redeems himself and goes from being Darth Vader back to being Anakin again.
You were right about me. Tell your sister. You were right.
Everybody thought of Darth Vader as this big evil guy that, you know, had no heart. He was just evil. But in the end, it's not that at all. And I mean, here's a guy who has lost everything.
I mean, he believes that he's the chosen one. He's not doing wrong things knowing that it's having a negative impact. So there's that sort of naivety to him now that wasn't there before. And it makes him more human in a lot of ways.